I stayed up all night thinking about that thing we had recovered from the Forge. It's not as if I ever actually slept anyway. I just kind of closed my eyes, and a minute later I'd end up having visions of some far-off event or wake up in the middle of some new catastrophe. Sure, it sounds crazy when I say that out loud, and maybe I was crazy, but I had to assume it was some side effect of whatever it was that Advent had done to me. They had captured me 20 years ago, tossed me in a tube full of alien goo, and done God knows what to my brain, and now we had recovered someone else who had apparently suffered the same fate. Who or what was inside that alien stasis suit? Was it another one of the old XCOM operatives? A member of the old World Council? The founder of Exalt? Wait, no. Did Exalt ever even exist? That might have just been part of the alien simulation. But if they did exist, then no. Forget that, it's not important. The important thing was that I needed to know who or what this thing was, and I needed to know as soon as possible. Tygan was still trying to avoid me after that whole incident in the Shadow Chamber, so I just told the lab techs to pass along a message. Researching whatever was inside that alien stasis suit was our top priority, and he was not allowed to cut it apart. In the meantime, I decided to do a little research of my own. We had built up a number of contacts over the past several months, so it was finally time for me to put them to good use. Unfortunately, that didn't really get me any real answers. The spokesman didn't seem to care what the thing was. He was just happy that taking it had somehow disrupted Advent's plans. Betos was no help either, since she just loudly proclaimed that we should destroy the thing to spite Advent. If Mordena had still been alive, I would have tried contacting her, but, well, maybe I wasn't thinking straight, but I tried the next best thing and contacted Blightwalker instead. That went about as well as you might imagine. Realistically, there was nothing I could do but kill time until Tygan stopped sulking and got back to work. That meant that I needed to either bury myself in paperwork or find something to kill, and thankfully, Bradford had just finished writing up a report on a new potential target of opportunity. It wasn't anything complicated. We just needed to send a team to wipe out an Advent outpost, disable another psychic transmitter, and steal everything that wasn't nailed down. Lieutenant Dome was no stranger to that sort of work, so I put him in charge of the operation. Corporal Wall and the Beast could handle the Advent peacekeepers, Shellshock and Korik could take care of destroying the outpost, and Atlas would handle the psychic transmitter. It was a pretty run-of-the-mill operation, and okay, so maybe I was starting to get a little overconfident, but can you really blame me? After everything we had been through over the past several months, it really was starting to feel like we just couldn't lose.
During a recent scouting operation, our friends in the Resistance picked up readings from a massive psionic transmitter Advent just deployed in this area. As we understand it, destroying that transmitter while it's still connected to their network would cause catastrophic outages across the region. So that's exactly what we're going to do. Advent has constructed a psionic transmitter in this area, tied directly into their primary network. Our intel suggests destroying it while it's still connected will severely damage their linked systems. Plant the explosives before they have a chance to pull the plug. We got a last-minute tip that Advent has additional materials stashed somewhere in the AO, but we don't have an exact position. The clock is ticking, but we should still try to recover that gear if possible. Orders confirmed. Moving out.
Hey, RetconRaider here, and welcome back to episode 28. Oh, and, well, that was quick. Okay, well, it looks like we're up against a mech and a priest, but I didn't get a good look at whatever the third guy was. Well, as usual, they can't see us, and the timer won't budge until we've come out of stealth, so that gives us the opportunity to move up and take a better ambush position. But since this is essentially a bomb defusal mission, the second we take that first shot, the clock will start counting down and we need to be ready to move. I guess I could use one of Atlas's powers to hit these guys now, but that would probably be a little premature. I'm not sure if we'd actually be able to move the rest of our squad up fast enough. For now, let's just focus on bringing the rest of our guys up into a better ambush position, and then we'll hit that pod next turn.
Moving out. Confirmed. Heading out. Rolling. Roger that.
Oh, and it looks like this time we get a bonus trooper. Definitely not as useful as a stun lancer, but I'll take what I can get.
Got it covered. I'm on it. Eyes on the prize. Roger. I've got my eye covered.
And speaking of troopers, it looks like that's what the third member of this enemy pod is. Well, that's definitely nothing we can't handle. Let's go ahead and get this party started. We'll move up one of our grenadiers and lob something explosive in their direction.
Closing on target position now. Objective located.
Our readings indicate that relay is feeding energy directly into their network. If you can destroy it, it may disrupt their efforts to isolate the transmitter.
And cue Tygan, saying something we already know as usual. He, really needs to stop performing brain surgery on himself. Okay, that didn't kill anyone, but it did strip off all their armor, and now the rest of the squad can move up. Let's go ahead and bring Atlas to the... Oh, wait. Okay, I just moved him into an uncovered position. But that's fine. We'll just kill all of these guys before the end of the turn. He could easily finish off that trooper with his rifle, but he's a psychic, so we might as well do something psychic. Not as impressive as it could have been, but it still killed the trooper and did a little more damage to the rest of the pod.
Target's still up.
Unfortunately, Pierce can't draw line of sight from where he is, so let's move him up a little closer. And I think we'll actually have him take out that node over there. The timer's going to be counting down pretty fast, so we might as well start extending it now.
Well done. As we had hoped, the network separation has been temporarily delayed.
Yeah, thanks, Tygan. Well, at least he's talking to me again. We're just going to use the trooper to soften up the mech a little bit. Then we can finish it off with one of our other troopers.
I'm trusting you here.
Though I guess I probably shouldn't ignore that priest. There we go. Now we've got him on the brink of death, too. Let's go ahead and shuffle Purge Dome a little closer, and then he can take the kill shot.
Here I come. Who's keeping score?
That takes care of the mech. Now let's see if we can finish off that priest, or at least force him into stasis. Either way, it'll get him out of our way for at least a turn. Unfortunately, Beast doesn't really have a good angle from where he is, so let's use run and gun to get him a little closer before we take our shot.
What's over there?
Still not great, but let's take the shot. And there you have it. The RMG has spoken. Oh, and, I guess that stasis didn't really work out for him, did it? Though I guess it did keep the acid from killing him for an extra 5 seconds. Alright, we're on the clock, so we need to start moving up. I would like to grab that loot, but we'll have to wait for the acid to go away first. And I'd like to get up on that little bridge there, but I'm not sure if we can actually get up there. Well, both of these doors lead into the same room, so for now we'll just split our squad and start moving them up towards the two different doorways in preparation for next turn. According to the mission briefing, we're only running into 11 enemies, and we've already killed 3 of them. So that means we're only running into 2, maybe 3 more pods. And if the usual pattern holds, most of those guys will be gathered around the final objective, so there's probably only going to be 1 pod in this next room.
Tired of waiting around. Overwatch. Scanning. Got it covered.
Okay, we're still a little too far away from those doorways to reasonably breach this turn. So let's just move ourselves up a little closer. We'll grab that loot and we'll take out that node to extend the timer a little more. Then next turn we'll push through to see what we're up against.
So, here it is.
Moving out.
I guess we might as well take out that node too.
Okay, I'll go. Ten-4. Let's do this. All right, I'll go.
I think everyone's in a pretty good position, so let's have Kuruk take out that node and then we'll move into the next turn.
I'm on it. Scanning. Come get some.
Ah, okay, and we've got an Advent pod in sight. 1 Andromedan and 2 codices. Fortunately, they showed up during the alien turn, so that means now we've basically got an entire turn to see if we can take them out. They're pretty tightly clustered together, so obviously we're going to start things off with some sort of area attack. Let's just see if there are any safe places I can move up to.
If you say so.
Let's go ahead and get Kuruk up into elevation, and then we'll burn off another grenade.
Grenade out.
That trimmed off a bit of armor and health, but obviously it wasn't enough, so let's get Shell Shock in there for another area attack.
What's over there?
Now, obviously, I would like to hit that other codex, but for now, I think we need to prioritize taking out the Andromedan. But I might be able to... Yeah, okay. We can line up a reasonable shot with the Plasma Blaster, so let's go ahead and do that. That takes care of 1 codex, and takes another huge chunk off the Andromedan's first health bar. Now, we might not be able to take the Andromedan down this turn, but we should be able to neutralize it without any problem. The tricky part is going to be taking out that other codex. I guess we should at least take a shot at that thing. Oh, and there we go. Good work, Pierce. We do have 4 enemies on the field now, but they're all within 1 shot of death, so let's see if we can start clearing them off the board. We'll go ahead and bring our double agent up and... Oh, well, it looks like I didn't pick a great position. He doesn't have a good angle on the Andromedan, and he can't quite hit that codex with a grenade. Well, at least he can still extend the timer. We'll play it a little safer with Atlas and move him into a guaranteed flanking position.
Let's move already.
Okay, that knocks the Andromedan into its second stage, so now we can have Purge Dome hack it. But first let's have the Beast clear out this other codex over here. Now we can move Purge Dome up to get line of sight for Haywire.
Tired of waiting around. Activate Haywire!
And as tempting as it is to try to take control of this thing, we'll go with the guaranteed stun. Unfortunately, that does leave us with 2 codices on the board, so let's see what they do. There's a psychic bomb on half our squad, and that codex is killed by the feedback. And then... Yikes, okay. Well, Kuruk took a minor wound there, but nothing to worry about. The important thing here is that we shouldn't have any trouble finishing off the rest of this pod. In fact, we'll just have Beast move up to finish off that codex now. Though, Does that railing not count as cover? I could have sworn I saw the codex taking cover behind it a moment ago. I guess it might... Okay, whatever. We'll take our chances. It's probably just a graphical glitch, but worst case scenario, we'll use teamwork to pull him back again. That gets the last active threat off the board, so now we can just spend the rest of the turn moving our guys out of the radius of this bomb, reloading our guns, and picking on that stunned Andromedan. We might also take out a note or 2 if we have some extra actions, but our main priority is to knock out that Andromedan. I actually just realized that even though we've fought several Andromedans at this point, we usually end up mind controlling these guys, so we've never actually been able to do the autopsy. Since I'd actually really like to unlock proximity grenades, I decided we'd go ahead and kill this guy.
I guess that'll be okay. Okay, I'll go. It's dead. It has to be dead. Here I come. Reloaded. Let's do this.
Okay, let's push into the next round, and there goes the psychic bomb. And that sounded an awful lot like a sectopod. I wasn't actually sure if sectopods could spawn in tunnel maps, but I guess we're about to find out. It's going to take us at least 2 turns to... Oh, hold on. Okay, that was definitely a sectopod and some sort of Advent infantry. Just like during the Forge mission, we obviously weren't supposed to be able to see those guys. But, just like the Forge facility, we're going to take advantage of it if we can. The Beast is packing our Shred Storm cannon, so let's bring him up a bit closer and lay down that ridiculously huge cone template.
Time to shred.
Not bad. That stripped off all the sectopod's armor and killed its escort.
That's a confirmed visual on the transmitter. Plant the X4 charges before they can cut it off from the network.
Though we can see another pod right behind it. Looks like an Archon and a Spectre. Let's see if we can finish off the sectopod before the end of the round. That shouldn't be too hard to do, since we've already taken out all of its armor.
I'm trusting you here.
But we did end up activating that other pod, so that makes things slightly more problematic. The Spectre's the biggest threat on the field, but fortunately it ran over next to the sectopod, so Kuruk will just hit them both with an area attack.
Homing in.
That takes another big chunk out of the sectopod's health and sets the Spectre up for an easy kill. So let's see if we can... Okay, Shellshock can take a shot here. There we go. That takes care of the Spectre.
Check it before you get too close.
We've only got a couple of actions left at this point, and I'd like to take out that sectopod, but let's see what we're working with. Unfortunately, God is too far back. It doesn't look like he's going to be able to draw line of sight to anything. So we'll just move him up near Shellshock and put him on Overwatch. Pierce is still pretty far back, too. I could have him grapple up onto this catwalk. I'm just not sure how that would really help. But really, I guess he could just walk over there like a normal person. Actually, he's not going to be able to do much against the sectopod with his pistol anyway. So let's see if he can neutralize that Archon over there instead. Well, he missed, but no reason to panic just yet. That was a free action, so he can still take an attack. Though he can also use teamwork to give the Beast an extra action. That actually might end up being a more efficient use of his turn, but let's see who else hasn't gone yet. Okay, I think I've got a pretty good idea of what we're doing here. First, let's bring the Trooper up to this opening, and he'll take a quick shot at the sectopod. Nice, nice. Now, we should be able to finish off the sectopod with one more shot, so Pierce will use teamwork to give the Beast an extra action.
I give you strength.
And now the Beast will use Run and Gun to move up closer and hopefully finish off the sectopod.
Calm down. I hope it's worth it.
There we go. Oh, and hair trigger procced again. Well, we might not even end up needing that, so we'll come back to him in a second. Now we'll bring Atlas up. And he could easily neutralize this thing with one of his psychic powers.
Let's do this.
But he's also carrying our experimental cryo grenade, so we'll just use that instead. That neutralizes the Archon for a couple of turns, but I guess we might as well take a few shots at it. I'm actually pretty sure that's the last enemy on the field, anyway.
Not even close.
And I guess since Purge Dome can't draw line of sight, he'll just take out another node. Okay, let's finish off that Archon, and oh hey, there's the bonus loot container too. At this point, we're really just doing post-mission cleanup. We'll start moving the beast up towards that psychic transmitter, and we'll take a quick look around the map just to make sure there aren't any other loot containers.
Here I come.
Looks pretty clear. So let's go ahead and finish off that Archon, grab that bonus loot, and then next turn we can blow up the transmitter. Mission accomplished.
Orders confirmed. On the move.
Finally.
Only 38 supplies, huh? I've got to say, it's nice to get something extra, but that is pretty underwhelming. Let me just take another quick look here to make sure I'm not missing another container. No, it still looks pretty clear, so let's finish off the Archon. Honestly, at this point, I'm kind of wishing I'd set the campaign on a higher difficulty. I mean, I'm having fun, but it really does feel like a lot of these new features added by War of the Chosen end up making the game a lot easier than it used to be.
We're not picking up any other contacts. Get those charges deployed.
What's over there? Overwatch. Got it covered.
Signal confirmed. X4 charges are active. That transmitter is history. Good work, Commander.
For your safety, all travel between city centers has been suspended until the recent power system upgrades have been completed. Please see your nearest Advent Peacekeeper for any further clarifications.
Continue to exceed expectations while working with limited resources. Impressive, Commander.
Aw, Tygan's trying to get back on my good side. That's cute. We'll go ahead and grab Lightning Hands for Pierce, and get back to it. Like I said, it really was starting to feel like we just couldn't lose. Sure, we had just finished another operation, but really it had just been another day at the office. The men were happy with their victory, and Radford was happy with our new pile of alien salvage. With nothing else to do, I reluctantly started focusing on paperwork. It was boring, but at least it was a good way to kill time. It was the usual mix of reports and requests. Our Scilab experiments were still progressing nicely. The Grey Shirts had managed to track down a new prospective recruit for our engineering team, and Lily had just finished upgrading the Avengers communication system. Blackbane and Joey had also just returned from their salvage mission, helping our allies in Asia relocate their camp, though they had apparently run into another one of Blightwalker's traps in the process. I wasn't clear on the details, but apparently Blackbane would be laid up for a few days while he recovered. I thought about striking back at Blightwalker to teach him a little lesson about messing with XCOM, but I guess I was still pretty preoccupied with finding out more about that thing we had down in the Shadow Chamber. Some less conventional avenues of potential information had opened up, so I ordered Corporal Varnas and Major Williams to look into one of them for me. Afterwards, I ordered the gray shirts to go ahead and set course for one of the other potential sources of new intel. Though I suppose in retrospect there was a good reason that we usually relied on covert operations to handle that sort of thing. Like I said before, I guess I was getting a little overconfident. We had been going up against the Advent Authority for over a year now, and it really felt like we were always one step ahead of them. But I guess I should have realized. They were bound to catch up with us eventually.
We've lost power! We're going down! Fast!
Impossible! There's no damage to the engines. Unless be using an electromagnetic pulse. If I can just bypass all this alien circuitry... Hold on.
Shen?
It's not accepting the transfer. Interface ready. The system is overriding my command.
Shen!
Right.